How's it going, you wonderful people? It's Jay, and in today's video we're going to be celebrating the 10th birthday of the Nintendo 3DS. Oh, happy birthday! Oh, happy birthday, Nintendo 3DS! I can't believe this little baby is now 10 years old, and to celebrate a decade of 3DS, we're going to take a step back through time and look at the history of the 3DS. How was this 3DS made? The DS and the Wii were a massive turning point for Nintendo, and as much as we love the GameCube, it had a lukewarm reception, so Nintendo had to go in big to revolutionize gaming. And fortunately, the DS and the Wii were a massive success, with the DS being the second best selling console behind the PS2. And with the 3DS coming out, could Nintendo maintain that momentum? Flashback to 2010, and Nintendo announced a brand new console designed to showcase 3D effects in the palm of your hand without the need for glasses. You could be sitting on the toilet and have Pikachu dancing for you in 3D. How cute! It's not the first time Nintendo toyed with 3D, however, with experiments going back way into the 80s, with the Famicom 3D system released in Japan with a handful of games and a rather chunky pair of glasses. It didn't take off and never launched outside Japan. Years later, Nintendo gave it another go with that console that should not be named, the Virtual Boy, a pair of goggles that produced trippy wireframe models. And with a sea of red polygons versus the likes of the PlayStation and the emerging Nintendo 64, it didn't quite resonate with the graphics-hungry consumers. It was an interesting concept for the time, but again, it just didn't hit the market as much as Nintendo may have hoped. And because of the failure of the Virtual Boy, was it the end of 3D gaming for Nintendo? No. Nintendo do what Nintendo do best and spent years and years trying to experiment and research 3D gaming. And did you know that the GameCube almost had Stereoscopic 3D? An LCD attachment was being developed for use with Luigi's Mansion, but ultimately it was never made. Even the Game Boy SP and the original DS had 3D experiments, but it never quite hit that sweet spot in terms of graphics or cost. After the DS proved to be incredibly popular, Nintendo resurrected all that 3D knowledge, all those 3D experiments, to create a portable console that allowed you to toggle the 3D via a genius little switch. Nintendo, being Nintendo, wanted the setting of the 3D effect to be intuitive, and came up with the concept of 3D volume, where players could set the level of 3D depending on the game or the situation without having to dive into the settings. In an Iwata Asks interview, Shigeru Miyamoto said, "We thought it was very important that it had to be intuitive. Digital input, raising or lowering numbers, wouldn't convey it at all." Former Nintendo president Hiroshi Yamauchi was a key player in getting Nintendo where it needed to be with the 3DS. At every opportunity he insisted, can this thing pop out? And it really persuaded Nintendo to keep researching 3D, to keep experimenting. Talking about these experiments, Miyamoto said, "As we were trying things out, one thing we decided to do was make it glasses free. We flat out decided that 3D should be enjoyed without using special glasses or goggles." But why couldn't Nintendo just make a headset for the Wii, the DS or the Wii U? Nintendo didn't want to alienate players, it wanted everybody to enjoy that 3DS experience. And as Miyamoto highlighted, suppose 10% of the total number of users bought goggles as an optional accessory, you'd then be making 3D games for only that 10% of users. Ultimately, it came down to timing. Nintendo had been riding a wave of success, and the price of LCD screens and the parts needed to render 3D images had come down since those early experiments. It just had to be a brand new console launch to avoid it being seen as a novelty or a simple accessory. Former Nintendo president and utter gaming legend Satoru Iwata put it perfectly. It's like you're sitting on a conveyor belt sushi shop, staring at various technologies as they pass by. As you're watching, the moment comes when you say, "Ah, that's exactly what I want," and suddenly you reach out and grab something. I think that's what hardware development is like. For Nintendo, finally, it was the right time, and the Nintendo 3DS was born a decade ago in 2011, and it has brought years and years of incredible gaming experiences, some of the best Nintendo games to date. And there we go, a little piece of Nintendo history showing how Nintendo persisted over the years trying to innovate, research and explore, and finally come up with the perfect portable console for 3D. And if you want to channel all those retro feels, be sure to check out our exclusive collection of merch, retro designs voted for by you and inspired by all the greats. And a big thank you to you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to see more geeky, more gaming, more Nintendo videos, you may want to subscribe. And thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.